Good morning, good afternoon, everyone who is joining us today. Welcome, welcome. I see people are popping up on time. Thank you. We're so excited to have you all here. Please feel free to go ahead and say hello in the chat. We always will love and welcome interactions. So if you want to share where you're joining us from, what part of the country, where you want to share your nonprofit, please feel free to go ahead and put the information in the chat. And
Well,
we're going to
actually, I would like
Oh,
for
go
them
ahead.
to share. I want them to share what their favorite dessert is. I
Ooh.
want everyone to put in the chat. We're not kidding, because that's how you're going to talk to me. Put in the chat your favorite dessert. And I haven't seen one person put anything in the chat yet, so that scares me. Is the chat open?
Chat is open. We're just
All
going to give
right.
everyone a minute.
There we go. Yvette says cheesecake.
I'm with
Ooh,
you, Yvette.
mint chocolate chip ice cream, strawberry shortcake. Okay, cool. Yeah, I want to hear from every single person. And we do have you listed, and I'll be calling you through the. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, wonderful. Well, while everyone popping up, what is your favorite dessert, Greg?
Oh, it's salted caramel ice
Ah,
cream.
oh my goodness. That
Yeah,
sounds fantastic.
yeah, I love salted caramel. I can't help. I do love creme brulee, though. That's Thea says creme brulee. All
Oh
right,
my God.
go ahead.
All right. So we'll let everyone to pop that in the chat. We have 56 coming over 50 attendees. So we're waiting for all the information, but let's get started. While everyone's settling in, hello, welcome. If you're joining us for the first time, we're so excited to have you. If you've been to our speed learning sessions, welcome back. My name is Yulia Zhernovaya, and I'm the head of growth at Giveffect. Giveffect is all-in-one nonprofit platforms with CRM and all the tools to manage your donor, volunteers, marketing, events, grants, you name it. One-stop shop for the entire team to get better results, remove silos, and achieve tremendous results this year. And we do have integration with QuickBooks Online. And over the years, we received so many questions about QuickBooks. So today and next week, I'm so excited to welcome Gregg Bossen, president of QuickBooks Made Easy for Nonprofits, because this is the hot topic, Greg. I think we're going to have so many questions, and
Oh,
we're so excited to have you.
well, you can't get more exciting than accounting. I mean, come on.
um, I would love to pass it to you to maybe share a couple of things about yourself before we get started.
Sure, sure. Hey, everybody, I'm a CPA in Atlanta, Georgia, and I specialize in nonprofits. So I do audits, I do bookkeeping for nonprofits. We do about 150 990s, and I also have a company called QuickBooks Made Easy, and I'll show you that in a second. But what QuickBooks Made Easy does is teaches nonprofits how to use QuickBooks. And we partner with state associations of nonprofits. And if you've ever heard of TechSoup, have you guys heard of TechSoup? Put it in the chat. If you ever take a QuickBooks class at TechSoup, I'm the one who's going to be teaching it. Same thing is true for Grant Station, Nonprofit Quarterly, Chronicle of Philanthropy, the 30, 40 state associations across the country that support us. So anytime you're looking at any sort of QuickBooks training, if you're a nonprofit, I'm the guy that kind of does that. So that's kind of the deal. I'm in Atlanta. Um, and I did want to point out in the chat, people are putting their favorite
Yeah.
desserts. So Carolina put Pacoca, Pacoca, which I have no idea what that is. So I had to look it up.
Mm.
Has anyone else ever heard of that besides Carolina? But it's a candy made out of ground peanuts.
Ooh.
It's like a square. It's very interesting. Has anyone ever heard of that? But all right. Okay. That's me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Again, I know it's accounting, but I think this is the group that is very exciting to learn more.
Hmm.
Today, we're going to have our session is more QuickBooks Online 101. So many topics to cover. For everyone who is joining, just a quick housekeeping items. We are going to spend about 15 minutes doing interview style and go over some of the questions that you guys submitted in the registration page. Then we're gonna open it for live Q&A. So please feel free to go ahead, use that Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen, put your questions. We'll try to go through as many questions as we can in a short and quick 30-minute session. But let's dive in, Greg. I think first and foremost, this is QuickBooks Online 101. And I'm just so curious to hear your opinion, like for nonprofits, those who are using maybe outdated systems or, sometimes maybe still using spreadsheets. What are they missing out by not using QuickBooks Online? Why
Okay,
is
so
that the right tool?
yeah, I mean, this is easy and quick, and I want to have a lot of
Mhm.
meat. So the number one thing you're missing if you're not using an accounting system, obviously, is time. You're wasting a lot of time creating spreadsheets. Whenever you go for a grant and you need a report, you don't have financial statements. You're going to have to try and create them maybe in a Word document or something like
Mhm.
that. It's a mess. And so, and it's easy and cheap to use an accounting system.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to go ahead and finish this out. There are probably three accounting systems that are in the United States that are good for you to use unless you
Mhm.
are a multi-billion dollar nonprofit organization like I don't know, the Red Cross or something.
Sure.
But almost all nonprofits in this country will either be using, honestly, QuickBooks Online,
Mhm.
QuickBooks Desktop, or Sage,
Yeah.
okay, which is Peachtree. And uh, almost no one uses Sage. All right. So in
What is sage?
and now I don't work for Intuit, okay? I'm just a CPA, but like 90% of all small businesses in this country, forget nonprofits, are using QuickBooks. And with nonprofits, it's probably 95% are using QuickBooks. You're going to be either using QuickBooks Desktop or you're going to be using QuickBooks Online. And the vast majority of people are using QuickBooks Online, and there's a reason for that. But I'm going to shut up for a second, have you ask the next question.
Yeah, but then this is great. And this is what I see all the time as well. Like I talk to nonprofit leaders all day, every day. Most of the time, I hear QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks
Hmm.
Online. And this is the question that, to be honest, I'm not in accounting, so it's really hard for me to distinguish, but I'm so curious to hear from you. What is the main difference between desktop and online?
Okay, and I go ahead and I'm going to put this on here
Mhm.
just so you can actually see it. So this is what QuickBooks Online looks like, and this is what QuickBooks Desktop looks like. So you can
Mhm.
imagine if, and I know you're not an accountant, but if you were using this software and
Mhm.
suddenly some young whippersnapper told you you had to change to that, you'd freak out. Okay. So the main difference is what's called the UI or the user
Mhm.
interface. And in other words, the what you see, how you click around is so different. Like for
Mhm.
instance, in QuickBooks Desktop, your transaction windows, you can get to them from this homepage here, but you can also get to them up here. So here's where you go to
Mhm.
write a check under banking. If you go to customers, here's where you go to do an invoice under customers. If you go to vendors, this is where you go to enter a bill.
Mhm.
So, whereas in QuickBooks Online, any transaction you want to do, it's right up here. It says plus new. This is where you go to write a check. This is where you go to enter a bill. This is where you go to do an invoice. So it's actually a little bit easier, but you can certainly understand if you're used to using this to move to this, it's kind of like, I don't know, man. I'm close to retirement, so screw it. I'm just gonna like keep with this and then peace out. But all the young people, the main difference besides the user interface is you can access this anywhere around the world. It's cloud
Mhm.
based. All you do is put your username and your password in. The other thing that's neat about this over this is that with this one, you can connect your Joanna says retire. What are you talking about? Um, is with QuickBooks Online, you can connect your bank to it and it'll download transactions. It won't enter them in immediately. It'll put them in a waiting room and then you decide where you want it to go and add it. Whereas in this one, you can do that, but it's a lot more complicated and sometimes costs you money to link your bank. Here, it's free. All right.
Mhm.
So, and the only other thing I'll say about this is this software is much cheaper
Mhm.
than this software.
Mhm.
Okay. This desktop version is now going to cost you a minimum of $800 a year. All right.
Mhm.
Whereas this software is $170 a year,
Oh, wow.
and it's better through
Mhm.
TechSoup. Okay. Jude says, is it easier to hack into this one? No. This one is cloud based. It's in servers that are, multi encrypted in the caves in Pennsylvania and wherever else. They're dealing with that. This is in your computer. I promise you, a hacker can get into this
Mhm.
computer better than they can into the Intuit servers. Stephanie, that's not a stupid question at all.
Mhm.
Um, okay, what's next?
And then to add to that, you mentioned connection to the bank, but I think it's also work the same way with other connections that you might want to have. For example,
Yes.
Giveffect, we only can connect to QuickBooks Online, and there is, from my understanding, there are some technical difficulties with the desktop version. So
Yes. Yes.
that's another
This,
convenience.
yeah, this one is, there are some other software, some other
Mhm.
CRMs that will sync to this
Mm,
software, but not very many, and they're going bye-bye
yeah.
because everyone's moving to this, period.
Mhm.
Okay. Jennifer wants to know, is the connection with Giveffect
Yes.
automatic?
Yes, we can connect both, and you can see it's a one-way connection, Jennifer, though, so you can sync your transactions from GiveEffect site to QuickBooks.
But I doubt that it's automatic. There's probably some
Oh,
sort of
yes.
mapping
Oh,
that you
that's what
have
you
to do.
mean. That's right.
Yeah.
You do the mapping and then you sync it into the with the click of a button. But
And
yes,
it's
it's not
free.
gonna.
It's
It
not
is
an
free.
additional cost.
No,
All
no,
right.
absolutely
Go
not.
for it. What next?
So the next question is, so if someone actually do want to transition from the desktop to online, or maybe from other software to QuickBooks Online, regardless, what have you seen? Like, how much time is needed? How much resources? Is it a big project? Like, what are some mistakes people make?
Okay. So most people that are switching from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online. Now, when you do that, it's actually quite easy. If you go down to
Mm.
company, migrate this company file to QuickBooks
Oh.
Online. So what you do is, first of all, you got to get a QuickBooks Online account, and you want to get that from TechSoup. So I'm just going to go to TechSoup.org. If you've never heard of TechSoup, it's the place to go to buy hardware and software at vastly discounted prices. You have to be a member, but it's free to be a member.
Mhm.
So you join to become a member. Pretty much all nonprofits are members. And then you have access to buy a bunch of stuff at vastly discounted prices. The one that you want to get is let's see. You want to get QuickBooks
Mhm.
Online Advanced. Do not get Plus, get Advanced. And Plus is $80 a year. Advanced is $170 a year. If you got Plus through Intuit, you're going to be paying a couple of $100 a month, and you're going to be paying even more than that for QuickBooks Advanced per month. So you want to get it through TechSoup, okay? So it's
Mhm.
$170 a year, and it is an issue when you are once you have that account, then you can go over here to company and
Mhm.
migrate. The problem with it is that it takes every single one of your transactions from the beginning of time.
Mhm.
So if you have this file for 100 years, you're going to have 100 years worth of transactions. So it's very important that you clean the data
Mhm.
file up. And there are some functions you can do. If you go to utilities and click rebuild data and verify data,
Mhm.
it cleans up any degraded data. That'll create problems when you move up. Another thing you can is condense data and it'll remove old transactions. Um,
Mhm.
I think the biggest problem I'm seeing is if you've got an old data file with a lot of stuff in it, you're going to have, for instance, a lot of customers or donors in it
Mhm.
that you've had for years, okay? And you'll want to get rid of them, all right? Well, if you've ever entered a transaction for them, it won't let you get rid of them.
Mhm.
It won't let you delete them. And then when you move up to QuickBooks Online, it'll take all those old customers with it. And so it gets messy. So it's helpful to do a condense, which means you pick a date and all the transactions before that date will be removed from the data file in desktop. and
Mhm.
then move up to QuickBooks Online. That's what I would
Mhm.
suggest doing. Okay. So if you already have a QuickBooks Online account and you want to change it to purchase it through QuickBooks uh, TechSoup version, yeah, that's very complicated to do. You have to get a new account through QuickBooks through TechSoup, and then you'll have your old account through Intuit and your new account through TechSoup,
Mhm.
and then you're going to need to migrate one over to the other,
Yeah.
and it's a nightmare. So when you get the new account, and this is actually true for every single person listening to me, if you're going to move to QuickBooks Online, click Advanced. It's much, much better than Plus, and it's only $70 more a year. There's a thing here called QuickBooks Data Migration Support.
Mm.
If you click this button, then it will be a group of people, and they're colleagues of mine. They're in Texas, and all they do is manage the migrations. They will make sure all the data imports over successfully. When you go from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online, we will do
Mhm.
all of the checking to make, because you got to make sure that the data came over. And
Mhm.
sometimes things don't come over all the way, and you have to check. And so we manage that process for you.
Mhm.
Um, and whereas if you go from online to online through TechSoup, that's even more complicated. And you definitely want to pick this
Mhm.
one if you're going to do that, because you have to literally back up the data file and restore it to the new account. It's funky. It's weird. You asked how long it takes.
Mhm.
Actually, moving from one to the other, only the actual process takes like 3 hours. But the thing is,
Preparations.
it's the preparation of the desktop file,
Right.
getting it cleaned up to ready to move, and the QuickBooks Online file, you have to back it up and restore. There's that, and then once it gets over, then you have to check it to make sure it's right. If any
Mhm.
transactions didn't come over, you have to fix those. You have to figure out whether or not they came over, and so that's why we have the service for that. You can try doing it yourself though,
Mhm.
but so I would say a couple of weeks. When to do it? Wait till the end of a quarter. Okay. The reason why is because this is something I want you to know. If you're using QuickBooks Desktop um, and you're using it to do payroll, the QuickBooks payroll service of QuickBooks Desktop is completely different than the one for QuickBooks
Mhm.
Online. It's like going to a new payroll service. And so if you wait till the end of a quarter, then you'll have an entire quarter of payroll in, and it'll be easier to put the year to date numbers in. You don't want to change softwares in the middle
Mhm.
of a month.
Mhm.
And if you're using QuickBooks for payroll, you don't even want to do it in the middle of a quarter.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's really
So,
great
all right.
thing to keep in mind. And
Sure.
is there a better quarter to change, or like, do you need to think about your fiscal year, or
I mean, ideally, the best
yeah,
time to change is at the end of the fiscal year.
sure.
So if your year ends December 31, then you
Mhm.
want to change January 1st. If your
Mhm.
year ends June 30, then you want to
Sure.
change, July
Right.
1. And what some people do is you want to get the software about a month before you're going to change. Okay, so
Mhm.
you can get everything ready, so everything is ready to go. Um, Now, when you change from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online, you'll still have your QuickBooks Desktop file. And
Mm.
some people like to double enter for the next
Yeah,
month just to kind of make sure that everything still equals. Okay.
makes sense. It's like changing the software. Sometimes it's give you peace of mind to have it running
Yeah.
for some period of time, so you're not stressed and
Yeah.
can go back and change things. Well, Greg, this is. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, once you have made the change, and the team, if you're in desktop or QuickBooks Online, either way, when you sign up for QuickBooks Online, just make sure that you check that box. This QuickBooks data migration support, it'll add 350. It's more than worth it. Then you'll be done. You'll get in line. It'll take a couple of weeks. I should say this. You can't work anymore while the change is occurring. So what most people do is we get everything cleaned up, they keep working, and then we pick the date we're going to do it. and then they don't work that day on it. Maybe they
Mhm.
don't work the next day, but it's usually
Mhm.
just only a couple of days they're out, unless there's some major problem, which is rare. Okay. Then we say,
Okay.
okay, you're ready to rock and roll. Um, so, but then you'll be looking at this software and you'll be like,
So what do I do
so
now?
then you're going to want to get some training. Okay.
Right.
But anyway, which we can talk about that in a minute, but go ahead. What else?
I would love to. I think it's actually a good transition. I think this is the only one question kind of left on my plate before we jump into Q&A. I see so many questions coming in. So I think when someone transition, want to learn more about QuickBooks, what are some of their resources or first steps?
Okay. So obviously, I'm going to tell you to get my training product, and you got to make sure that you find me interesting. Okay, because I'm the one who's talking. And so you'll have to like me. And so, but if you go to QuickBooks Made Easy right here.com, and if you go to courses and training, we actually have a live webinar coming up that we do twice a year. The next one is happening next month, and it's happening. This is it, May 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's 3 days. It's only
Yeah.
2.5 hours a day. I'm the one teaching it. And we go over every single thing you could ever imagine about QuickBooks. I can click on here to, find out about it, click on getting tickets. And it gives you every single thing you want to know about QuickBooks. Day one, day two, day three. Here they are. This is everything we cover in day one, everything we cover in day two, everything we cover in day three. Okay. So to me, that's what I would do. All right. So
Fantastic.
what else?
Let's go through some live Q&A. We'll start with question from Stephanie.
Okay.
Can an option for test environment for syncing QuickBooks and Giveffect can be set up? I'll take the question. I'm uncomfortable diving straight into the live environment until the mapping has been tested. I think, Stephanie, I'm going to leave it to Hannah, who is in the chat. So she will respond to you in the chat with response to that question. The next question is learning a new interface the only reason accountants are hesitant to switch? Mm.
Uh, you know, no. I mean, that's the main reason. The other reason was that if you were using QuickBooks Desktop Payroll, so your clients were in QuickBooks Desktop Payroll, and you were using this payroll, the QuickBooks Online payroll isn't as user friendly, I guess.
Mm.
And like for instance, it's very easy to void a paycheck here in QuickBooks
Mm.
Online. It's not. You have to call them. It's a nightmare. So a lot of accountants didn't move, but now it's becoming easier. Additionally, you have to move. Okay. I don't know if you've noticed, but QuickBooks Desktop, you can't buy it unless you already have the current version. You
Mm.
can't buy it. So they're not selling to any new
Mm.
customers. And my guess is within the next 5 years, it'll
Mm.
be gone completely.
Mm.
So you really don't have a choice.
That's good to
All right.
know.
All right.
Yeah. Perfect. The next one, and for everyone who is live, we still have a few minutes, so feel free to put your question into Q&A or in the chat. But the next question is from Sherry. Can this keep track and online QuickBooks Online keep track of fixed assets and produce depreciation reports?
So there is a fixed asset function in QuickBooks Online, but it's not computing depreciation. So that you need to enter yourself.
Mm.
So there's not a depreciation module. At least the last time I checked, there wasn't. Let me go and see here. I go advanced accounting, fixed assets, add an asset. Yeah, you can add an asset, but well, there's a useful life and a depreciation method. I wonder if it computes depreciation. I might be wrong. I have to check it and see. I don't know. It's a new feature. Um, but honestly, the accountant is usually the one at the end of the year that figures out the
Mm.
depreciation rather than the client. But have to see whether or not it'll do that. Go on to the next question while I'm
Yeah,
looking.
absolutely. Sounds good. Do you have, by the way, for the question number one for Stephanie, Hannah did put the answer in the chat if you want to take a look at that. Unfortunately, there is no live environment, but she provided some more information. The next question is from Tyler, and the question is, do you have any experience with the QuickBooks Advanced Data Sync feature? How difficult it is to set up and manage? Do you offer a tutorial or support to set this feature up?
Okay, I'm not completely clear on the specifics of what the person's asking, but if you click here and you click import data,
Mm,
this function is not an automated thing, but it's fairly easy. These are all the types of transactions you can pick. I'll pick journal entries, and you can either import from desktop. But if I click import here, you can import using an Excel
mm,
document and or a CSV file, and I'll just pick Excel.
Hi,
And then there's
this is
a
Jason
video
from.
on it. But what
mm,
you end up needing to do is to make sure that the thing that you're importing is in the right file format. Uh, in other words, the columns match where they're going to go, and there's some mapping involved there. I don't have a planned tutorial on it,
mm,
but let's just go back to see. And again, this is not something that's automatic. Like when you
mhm,
have a CRM that has
mm,
written data like Giveffect, that's automatic. You just push
mm,
a button and it goes over.
right.
This thing, you do it
Mm,
yourself each time. Okay. You see the difference between that? But let's just see what you can do. You can import, uh, you don't really need to import bank data because you can just sync automatically. There's a
mm,
feature for that in QuickBooks. But bills, checks, let's see, I
mm.
think what people usually end up doing is invoices, journal entries for payroll. Those are the two main ones I see. Okay. All right, what's next?
And then the other question that I have, it's a little bit, and for everyone who's joining, next week we're meeting same time and diving into more nitty-gritty how to use it. But one question we had, what budget tools are available in QuickBooks?
So if you go to the gear and you click on budgeting, it's very easy to enter a budget, create budget.
Mm,
You can enter a budget for a P&L or a balance sheet. Most people do it for a P&L. You do it for the fiscal year. You can enter a budget consolidated, which means that's by account only. What's the total for travel? What's the total for supplies? And you
mm,
can do it by month or by quarter or by year. You can also, rather than just doing it by account, you can also do it by class and account or by customer and account. Now, we'll see when we meet next week. Classes are where you put your programs in.
mm,
So you can actually do a budget by program. Customers are where you put your grants in, so you can put a budget by grant. So you can,
mm,
for a fiscal year, you can have a budget that's an organization-wide budget just by account only. You can have a budget by class or by program, and you can have a budget for each one of your grants. Okay.
mm.
Um, Taleb says, I certainly was hoping we would have utilized more time to learn more about QuickBooks. Well, that's what we're doing next week. We're just going to talk about QuickBooks, Taylor, but you got to understand there are people here that have more general questions, and
Mhm.
we only had 30 minutes, and it's free, and
Yeah.
I'm fun. So,
You
all
absolutely
right.
are. And actually, we're right on time. So, Talib and everyone, thank you so much for your feedback. This was an intro. This is QuickBooks Online 101. Next week, we are meeting again, same time, same place. Please join us. And we're going to be spending most time on learning, going to QuickBooks, and answering more deep questions there. So, join us again. I think the link is in the chat. And I wanted to say thank you for everyone who joined. If you want to learn more about Gregg and connect with him, my colleague also putting his information in the chat. If you want to learn more about Giveffect, I'm more than happy to connect and talk more about your CRM and platform strategy. But
Yeah.
thank
And
you so
next
much.
week
Go
is
ahead.
30 minutes. Oh, Today was listed as an hour, Kate said.
Oh, well, my apologies for that. I'm gonna check with my marketing team. That's something that if we didn't list it correctly, my apologies. Our sessions are always 30 minutes, so please forgive us for that. And we will be meeting next week to learn more.
All right. Thanks. See you later.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks so much, Greg. Have a great rest of your week. See you. Bye.
Bye.